Greetings, everyone. Pete Pardo here from Sea of Tranquility. Welcome to another edition of Top 10 Songs in the Co-Captain's Chair for this New York State of Mind ranking. Mr. Jack Toledano, what's happening, man? How are you?
Hey, Pete, how are you?
Good. He's got his Mets shirt. He's representing. There you go.
Yes, for New York.
Very cool. So I've long been talking about, because I did a Billy Joel ranking the album show, geez, a year ago, something like that, maybe a little bit longer than that. And I've had many people ask for a top 10 song show because, of course, we know Billy Joel is notorious for having great songs and singles and just, tunes that so many of us love. And I just kind of never got around to it. And Jack was like, wow, you've done a couple like different types of top 10 song shows lately that don't really fall in line with the regular stuff that you do here. So how about Billy Joel? Because Jack and I are both from New York, and we both, if you live in New York, you love Billy Joel. That's just the way it goes. There's like no way. Yeah. I don't think I've ever met a person from New York who didn't love Billy Joel. So I was like, yep, let's do that. And then of course you got to set out making the damn list, and all of a sudden you realize that like maybe 80-90% of his repertoire is songs you love, right? So it's like, all right, how do you kind of whittle this down to 10? But I think we both have done it, and we have a couple honorable mentions each. So I'm going to have Jack kick us off with his number 10.
All right. So yes, this was a very challenging list, and being from Long Island, as you say, Billy Joel is beloved. How they talk about residencies for bands in Las Vegas, but Billy Joel to me is the only one who has a residency at Madison Square Garden and continues to sell it out.
Yeah.
When, in the non-COVID era when he's able to play. And I had the pleasure of seeing him with my family about 4 or 5 years ago. And if I could tell you all the tourists that make it a thing to go see Billy Joel at Madison Square Garden.
Well, here's the thing. All right. So not to digress from this whole thing, but my wife and I did the exact same thing probably 3 years ago. I'm going to say 3 years ago. It was about a year before the pandemic, maybe a year and a half. And we had been trying, because for those of you who don't live in the area here and maybe from or outside the country or whatever, Billy Joel basacally pre-COVID for, I don't know, Jack, a decade or so, maybe more, plays Madison Square Garden like once a month. I mean, like clockwork.
Yeah, right.
And I will tell you, it's like the hardest fucking ticket to get in the world. You would think that most people who live in the New York City area have probably seen Billy Joel live many times. All right. Myself, who lives outside of New York, has been trying up until that point. I had been trying to get tickets for him forever. And like, as soon as they announce a show, it goes on sale, gone, nothing left. So
one trick to that was we got tickets behind the stage.
Oh, I wasn't going to do that. I'm like, there's no way my wife was going to go for that. There's no way. We actually got pretty good seats. But, you bring up a good point, because I think because he plays so often, and it's like clockwork once a month, he's going to be there once a month. I think you have to bring the tourist thing into the equation, because I think a lot of people who go to see him, granted, I think there are people who are from New York who just say once a month, we're going to go see Billy Joel. And that's just like going to a ball game, just like going to the movies. That's what they do, which is all fine and dandy. But for some of us who don't live right in the city, it takes that opportunity away from us. But I think you have to factor in the whole tourist thing, because some people, they'll come in from Belgium and the UK and California or wherever the hell they're coming from. They come to New York City. What are they going to do? They're going to go to Times Square. They're going to go catch a ball game. They're going to go eat at Carmine's, and they're going to go see Billy Joel at the Garden. And you know how many tourists go to New York City each and every day, every month of the year. So long story short, I finally was able to see Billy Joel like 3 years ago. It was a lot of fun. I'm glad I did it. So anyway, now back to the ranking after that whole soliloquy of useless information, right?
Everybody's like, give me your number 10 already.
Just get to the point, Pardo. Come on.
Okay, so number 10 for me comes off the album 52nd Street. Probably the only song in my top 10 off of 52nd Street. Yeah, there you go. And it's the song My Life. I love the keyboards in that song. I just love the dueling electric piano and acoustic piano in the beginning, and that almost like that walking bass line he's playing on the keyboards in the beginning. You know, what's lost in this is what a great piano player Billy Joel is. It
Oh,
isn't.
absolutely, he is. Yeah, I mean, I think he
Just
doesn't
all
get
about
enough
the
recognition
songs.
for that. Yeah, absolutely.
So my life. And funny thing is, when I was a kid and I was went with my family to Italy, my aunt was actually singing it in Italian. And I'm like, that's pretty cool. Good song.
That is true. Yeah, it's a great song. It's you know, one of his longtime endearing hits, FM staple. Absolutely. All right, my just trying to find my oh, there we go. All right, so my number 10 is from the album Turnstiles, which, you know, everybody
That
talks
is a
about The
great
Stranger and
album.
52nd Street, but I gotta say, Turnstiles is like the hidden absolute gem in this
No
catalog.
question.
Yeah, and my song here is Miami 2017.
All right.
Seeing the lights go out on Broadway. What a great song. And again,
Oh,
just,
no question.
you know, forget the damn title. You know, it's kind of strange, you know, Miami 2017, where half the song is about New York, but it's just a really great song. It's a good feel good song. And, you know, he has this way of like kind of telling stories, which I think
Yes.
is really, really cool. And it's just big, grand, majestic Billy Joel. And you mentioned the piano playing, and it's all over this song.
There's
So,
some fantasy involved with that song.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's
Great
great
story.
stuff. Great stuff. So yeah, that is my number 10, Miami 2017, Seen the Lights Go Out on Broadway. And we'll be going back to Turnstiles a few times, I think.
Yeah. Oh no, that definitely will be mentioned again.
Yeah, cool.
Okay, so you know, so my number 9, and we're talking about Billy Joel. Not only is he a great piano player, you know, and he tells some great stories, but there's a lot of really good, you know, his songs have this real sing along quality to them.
Yeah.
Now, this number 9 is less of a sing along quality. Some of them tells the plight of a certain area, like the song Allentown, which was originally in my top 10 but got bumped, unfortunately. But number 9 tells the story about the plight of the Long Island fishermen, the Downeaster Alexa. You know, that's off of Stormfront.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, great song. You know, tells the story of a guy who works his fingers to the bone, trying to keep clothes on the back of his children, being a bayman. And as a Long Islander, and I belong to a lodge, we go out every year with a group of you know, orphans. We take them out fishing, and let me tell you, there's a lot of truth to that. The bays get fished out. The one time I got lucky was when they took us out past the shoreline to the ocean. So yeah,
That's a couple miles out, right?
yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Hard to make a living, you know, as a Long Island fisherman.
Yeah, yeah.
But,
yeah, I mean, and that's you know, not to get away from the point here, but that, you know, the whole fishing industry, that is going to be a problem going forward, you know, with pollution and the climate change and things like that. I mean, there's issues like that happening all over the world.
right.
So that's, you know, that's something we're going to hear a lot about. Yeah. All right. That's a great song, by the way. Great song.
Yes.
Really emotional, dramatic song, I think, and an underrated album. Story. I mean, you know, all his albums are really good, actually. You know, but there's the classic ones, obviously. But and speaking of the classic albums, my next song is going to come from this album right here, The Stranger.
Oh yeah.
And the song is Moving Out. Da-na-na, da-na, da-na, da. Anthony's song, right? Moving Out. You gotta know by now. Yeah, just such a great fun song. I mean, that's like a party song. You put that on at any like family gathering or anything, and especially, you know, you got a bunch of Italians and what have you. It's like, you know, everybody loves that song, right? Everybody loves you now. No, that's a different song. Sorry. You could sit here. It's amazing how with Billy Joel you can all of a sudden create and rattle off your own medley and put together like 10 songs at the drop of the hat, which I just started doing, and I was like, all right, I got to stop doing that because I don't want to give too much away. But yeah, Moving Out, Anthony's song from The Stranger. Great song, great album, great album.
Okay, well, you gave my number 8 away. It is Moving Out. Great song, better, moving out to Hackensack. I think he mentions Hackensack, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's one of those New Jersey towns. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's Hackensack actually. Yeah. Yeah. So it's called back in Hackensack. Is that all
Yeah.
you get for your money? Something, yeah, whatever.
Great song. And that's actually the song that kind of got me into Billy Joel back in 77.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't remember what
the first hit off their album with that album was Just the Way You Are, and I'm not into syrupy ballad type songs, but
great song that it is. But yeah, I totally get you. Yeah.
But then that was on AM radio, and I loved it.
Yeah. Now my parents were playing The Stranger on 52nd Street around the house when I was a kid growing up, so that's like, I heard a lot of this. Billy Joel was played all the time around the house, and family gatherings and things like that. It's just you just can't escape it, right?
No.
Can't escape it growing up in the New York area, and if you're Italian, of course, and it's just the way it is. So. All right, my number 8. Well, I'm going to stick here. I can't really whistle too well anymore, but the title track to The Stranger. I can try.
Okay.
I don't know why. As I've gotten older, I can't whistle like I used to. But I love that kind of cool guitar riff. And I love his vocal on it.
Oh, that's a great song.
Good darker rocker, I think. It's got and it's got that cool chorus, and yeah, really, really great song. Could have been higher. But it's still a great one. I mean, if it makes the top 10, it's classic in my eyes. So
that's awesome. But unfortunately, that made my honorable mentions, but didn't get into the top 10. But another song on that album did make my number 7. And it's another great song. It's a little bit of a slower song. Vienna waits for you.
Oh, Vienna's great. Yeah.
Now, when we saw him, he had some fun with the crowd. He would pick 2 or 3 songs, and he would put it up to a fan vote. It's like he'd give us a choice of 2 or 3 songs. He'd say, "What song do you want to hear?" And Vienna got chosen.
Yeah.
Now, I love Vienna because I love that accordion in the middle of the song. It makes me feel like I'm walking the streets of Vienna, or or maybe Sorrento, or somewhere in Europe, and it's just wonderful. It brings you to the area, or it puts you in that state of mind of
That's what a song does. That tells a great story, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Yep. Good choice. I love Vienna. That's great. Yeah. My number 7, going to go back to Turnstiles. Angry Young Man.
Oh, very nice.
Prelude, Angry Young.
I don't know how the hell that didn't make it into my list. I thought about that this morning, but my list is already set. But I really love the piano playing.
With the Angry Young Man. Really good arrangement on that song too, musically.
Yeah.
Musically speaking, some of these songs are pretty damn cool and challenging, which I really like. Yeah, Angry Young Man is just amazing, and it's like in here he's playing the synthesizer, which is kind of neat, right? A little change of pace there.
Yeah.
So, yeah. There you go. So that's my number 7.
That is an amazing album, Turnstiles.
Yeah, Turnstiles. Yeah. So, like I said, I think The Stranger and 52nd Street get all the credit when you talk about his catalog, especially from the 70s. But man, Turnstiles is just as good in my opinion.
Right. But, you talk about Turnstiles, but another hidden gem is the album Songs in the Attic. That really got me into a lot of the old Billy Joel classics.
Yeah, good live album.
Number 6 is on both Turnstiles, and it's on Songs in the Attic, and it's not too far from where you live. Summer Highland Falls.
Oh yeah, it's a good track. Yeah.
I think that's a wonderful track. I love that piano opening, and he tells another story. That these are not the best of times, but they're the only times I ever know.
Yep.
I guess it's telling the story of somebody who vacationed there, in the summer every year.
Yep. So for those of you who are watching, Highland Falls is actually our good buddy Kirk from Comic Book Geezers actually lives over in Highland Falls, and
oh, okay.
right near the Bear Mountain Bridge. So it's right near West Point. So it's a pretty historic area, actually.
Oh, yeah. I got a ticket there once.
Amazing the things you remember, right?
Yeah.
All right. My number 7, we're going to stay on turnstiles for I'm in a New York state of mind. What a great song.
Oh, yeah.
And that's like an anthem for so many. There you go. That is one of our anthems here in the state of New York, without a doubt. And it's just such a gutsy, emotional, powerful piece. And what a great vocal from Billy and the piano. And everybody knows it. It's just so good. And it had to be on my list somewhere. So number 6.
Very good. Well done. So my number 5, this one actually, I was telling Pete before we started. So how I went about assembling this, I put a top 30 list together in Spotify. And I'm actually in the grocery store listening to it the other day, and this song came on, and I'm like, how the hell did this not get bumped into the top 10? It's, it's got elements of everything, great instrumentals, tells another great story. It's very emotional. But at the same time, it basically tells the story of a guy who gets high and, and does certain untoward things in his bedroom. Captain Jack. Get you high tonight.
From the Piano Man. That's right. Yeah. Well, I mean, that's one of his epics, right? And
yes.
It's a great song. I don't want to say too much because we might be hearing more about that later.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's a killer track. That's a killer track. Yeah, it's a good choice. My number 5, you had to be a big shot.
All right.
You had to open up your mouth. You had to have the last word last night. I mean, Big Shot is just so cool. That's just, that's New York street grittiness right there.
Now, what's great about that song, that has more of a, killer guitar riff opening.
Yeah.
Opposed to most of his other songs.
Yeah, it's very guitar oriented. Yeah, that's why I love it.
I mean, he does have a few good, guitar oriented songs.
Oh, absolutely he does. That's
one of them.
Yeah. You'll be hearing about another one in a minute. So, that's
awesome.
52nd Street, another great album.
Okay. So, my number 4, you already mentioned, New York State of Mind. Great song. I mean, granted, living in New York all our lives, I mean, there are things about state of New York that kind of tick me off a little bit sometimes. Taxes, other things, but it's our home, and you gotta love it.
Yeah.
And as I was telling Pete, I now own 2 homes in New York, and I've been doing a lot of traveling on the weekends to and from both to try and fix up the second one and
I am like now like the midway between your main home in Long Island and your new home upstate.
Yes.
I'm like right in the middle. How weird is that, right?
So Hudson Valley Squares, I've been passing you every weekend.
Very cool. All right. So what are we up?
You're number 4.
Number 4. This may be a surprise for some people that it's so high, but I love this song. We're going to go to the Street Life Serenader album for Los Angelinos.
Oh, that's an interesting.
All come from somewhere. What a great hard rock song, man. Talk about guitar licks, man. Just such.
Right.
Again, this is all. So Billy was living in Los Angeles for a little while back in the early 70s. So a lot of this album, the Street Life Serenader album, is about his experience living in Los Angeles. Dying to come back home, and the song is all about his experiences and the people that he kind of ran into in Los Angeles. So great song, great chorus, great guitar riff, and another underrated album. Street Life Serenader is a very strong album as well. So Los Angelinos is my number 4 pick.
Okay, I thought you were going to mention the title track, which I think is
I love too. Yeah, it didn't quite make my list, but I love Street Life Serenader.
It's got that. It's like that's got so much emotion in it.
Oh yeah, it's awesome. Yeah,
very moody piece.
Yep.
But now my number 3 is also off of the album Piano Man, not the title track, but the Ballad of Billy the Kid.
Oh, geez, how did I miss that one? Yeah, that's a great one. Wow. Yes.
You know, I again, I love, and me, I know, Pete, I know you're into horror movies, and you know you feature that very prominently every week. I actually like westerns, and that's the one song where Billy Joel actually relates to a westerner. You know, Billy the Kid, and then at the end, how he ties it all into, you know, to Billy Joel from Long Island. You know, rode around with a 6-pack in his hand, not a 6-gun.
Yeah, it's a great song. Yeah,
Da 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 da. Yeah, great. Yeah.
Yeah, good arrangement on that track too. Yeah, it's that's
Oh yeah.
so many great arrangements on a lot of these songs. A lot of them.
But Songs in the Attic I think, does so much more justice to it than the actual studio version.
True. Yeah, even better.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. Cool. All right, we're gonna go back to 52nd Street for my number 3. I've got the old man's car.
Oh,
I've got a jazz guitar. I've got a tab at Zanzibar tonight.
Okay.
That's where I'll be. Zanzibar. What a great song. Oh my God.
Yes.
So fun.
Yeah.
You know, I absolutely love Zanzibar. That chorus just kills me every time. Just such a fun song. And again, you know, all about, you know, going out and you have your favorite club and what goes on the week. Again, it's all about storytelling, right? So yeah, Zanzibar, my number 3.
Okay. Well, we have a couple related stories to some of these songs coming up. Well, number 2, you already mentioned. I was hoping that this was a real surprise. I was hoping it wasn't in your list, but I just love that opening synthesizer at the beginning of Songs in the Attic, Miami 2017.
Yep.
Great song.
Yep.
Turned our power down. It drove us underground. Just, you know, again, sing-song quality. That's a song that I've actually sang in karaoke, and I just love doing it. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure that's probably one of his most chosen songs in karaoke.
I would think so, right? I mean, although, you know, I'm sure, again, I haven't done karaoke in a million years, but I'm sure if you go to a bar where they're doing karaoke and you go to the DJ guy and you look at the list of all the Billy Joel songs that he has available, it's probably like, what, 50?
Yeah.
Gotta be, right? At least.
That's got to be at the top of the list.
Yeah, I would think so. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's a great song. Well, I'm glad it made both of our lists. That's cool.
Yeah.
All right, number 2. I have a feeling this might be Jack's number 1, but Scenes from an Italian Restaurant. Again, another one of his epic tracks.
No comment.
Yeah, I know, right? And if you haven't figured it out yet, epic, and Jack already mentioned one, and I said that was coming, and now I talked about the other, so you pretty much know what my top 2 are. But yeah, Scenes from an Italian Restaurant is like, you know, I mean, I grew up, you know, my grandparents lived on the Lower East Side of Manhattan, right around the corner from Little Italy, and the song is all about that whole area. And it's another one of those songs that are just ingrained in your soul if you're from this area. And
Right.
It's just a classic from, you know, arguably his most classic album, right? So yeah, Scenes from an Italian Restaurant, Bottle of Red. You know,
White.
Yep.
Yeah. Which, by the way, I'm not much into white wine, but
I'm not either. No.
a nice Cabernet or, you know, Merlot is great with a bowl of pasta.
Yep. Or a really
Chianti.
Yep.
I love red wine, but you know,
that's the only wine I'll drink. Yeah, I like Chiantis. I like some Merlots. I like some. I don't mind a Cabernet. I like a good Pinot Noir. You know, yeah, I have no issues with going to an Italian restaurant and order a nice glass of Chianti, whatever the house Chianti, whatever. It's like good, simple. I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
All right, number 1. Gee, what could it be?
Bottle of red, bottle of white. So it's so funny. So I was actually, so yes. So my number 1 officially is Scenes from an Italian Restaurant. But so last night I'm at my lodge and I'm discussing my list with one of my brothers who ironically he is a singer and he does the band circuit on Long Island he was actually telling me about, so there's one element to the song where he says, do you remember those days hanging out at the Village Green? So I never knew this. He's actually, so Billy Joel's actually referring to the developments of Levittown, New York, which is right near where I live.
Right.
So that was a community right after World War II.
Huh.
They slapped up all these Levitt houses onto slabs, no basements, and within these certain few block communities, they would have what they would call a village green. So within it, they would each have a pool, and they would have like a small strip of stores, and that's what the kids would do. They would go on in the summertime. They would go on their bikes and hang out at the village green. So that's really what and I never knew this.
I never knew it either. That's great to hear. Wow.
My brother Mike Accurso told me this last night.
Wow, that's pretty cool. Wow.
So I have another relatable story once we get into our honorable mentions, but.
Okay, cool. That's cool. I never, I God, I've been listening to that song forever, and every time he says that, I'm like, I don't know what the Village Green is, but whatever. Hey, now I know.
Now we know.
Very cool.
But I have another little tidbit once we get to the honorable mentions.
Cool.
First,
well, my number one, obviously, we know is got to be Captain Jack, right?
All right.
Yeah, Captain Jack will get you high tonight. Dun, 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 take you to your special life. I mean, just so epic and sweeping, and that's his big, like, the lyrics are a little, for some a little weird and shit like that, but I love it. I think it's just such a great track, and a little bit different for him. I mean, that's something, and really early in his career. I mean, that goes all the way back to the Piano Man album, but I just love it. And what is it like? How many was that? 7, 8, 9 minutes? I forget exactly how long.
About 7 minutes. Yeah.
So this is a great track, and it's no stranger that my top 2 favorites are lengthier tracks from him, because I always thought that he was very good at putting together those kind of like intricate compositions that kind of like told that long story with a lot of really good instrumental passages. And I'm surprised he didn't do more of that, because he was so good at it. But great at the shorter pop ditties as well. So it's so. All right, on to honorable mentions.
Honorable mentions. Okay, so basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you my 11 through 15 as my honorable mention. So number 11 is Only the from The Stranger. Number 12, how could we not include The Piano Man? Number 13, off of Glass Houses, It's Still Rock and Roll to Me. So funny story about that, where he says, are you going to cruise the Miracle Mile? So I don't know if you know what the Miracle Mile is. Basically, the Miracle Mile is a shopping center in Manhasset, New York, up on the North Shore. And ironically, I worked there. And Pete, if I can tell you, I fucking hated it.
I don't know if you remember, you took me there once.
I did?
Yeah.
Really?
Way back when, yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
It was after you worked there, because I remember you used to complain about that all the time. That was Well, how long were you there? You weren't there for how long were you working there for?
I was only there for about a year. So
it wasn't that long, but you hated that.
Oof. Yeah. Well, here's the thing. So we both went to New Paltz, and my degree is in computer science with an emphasis in business. Now, I knew I didn't want to do retail my whole life, but let me tell you, I was working every weekend, and and dealing with the general public can be tough in itself. So my shout out to all the waiters and waitresses and retail people who are hanging in there. Good job, everybody. But dealing with the rich sometimes was really rough. Yeah. But on a positive note, about the best thing that happened working there, I actually ran into a few Mets there. So one day I was on break. I went and got a chocolate shake or whatever, and who walks right by me with some young lady? David Cohn, literally right by me. they used to have a Waldbaum's supermarket there, and I was in there one day, and who do I run into? Darryl Strawberry, buying a case of Moosehead beer. Yeah,
Of course he was buying beer, right?
right. And then the last one, he was a customer of our store, Tommy Agee of the '69 Mets. So
very cool. Yeah, because I remember when you met Tommy Agee, we were swapping stories because I actually met Tommy Agee when I was right after college.
okay.
Do you remember I was doing that internship at Viacom?
Right. Yes. Yes.
So we actually went and we did a news program from Shea Stadium, and we got to watch the entire game in the press box.
Nice.
And sitting right next to me was Tommy Agee. So
Awesome.
I have his signature somewhere. I don't know, but it was very cool. You know, this was like '89, I think it was.
Right.
Well,
he lived in Sunnyside, Queens, I believe, for the longest time.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, that was cool. So good. All right, my honorables. I wanted to dip a little bit into some of the latter period albums for my honorables. So Pressure.
Oh, I'm sorry, Pete. I was going to do my 14 and 15, but I'll just go through them very quick.
Okay, yeah, go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
Number 14 got bumped. Allentown. Another great story about the plight of people having their industries shut down. Number 15, Street Life Serenader, the title track.
Good track. Good track.
So go ahead. Sorry about that.
That's all right. That's all right. I lost track of count of stuff. So my honorables, Pressure from the Nylon Curtain.
Oh, very good.
Upbeat song. Yeah, I like some of his 80s stuff. We Didn't Start the Fire. I know some people hate that song. I always
I don't like it.
No, I kind of like that. It's different.
Here's a funny little tidbit that I was thinking of throwing in there, and you brought it up. So what does Billy Joel have in common with Ian Anderson?
No idea.
Okay, so Ian Anderson has an album called Homo Eroticus. That was the album that when we did our dream set list of Jethro Tull, that I couldn't remember what that album was. Here's a song called Enter the Uninvited. It is structured the same as almost identical to We Didn't Start the Fire.
Oh, really?
Except it's like all things British culture and British history.
Huh. I'll have to go back and re-listen to that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like that song. I know some people hate it, but whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I always kind of liked it. You May Be Right from Glass Houses is another one, and I'll pick a couple. I mean, I have a lot of the ones that you had already, so let me try to pick something else.
Sure.
Let's see. Here's one which actually was in my original list, and then I put it in my honorables, but I decided not. All for Lena from Glass Houses.
Okay.
I love All for Lena. Holy cow, such a good song. And then Good Night Saigon.
Yes, great song.
Yeah. So there you have it, everybody. Top 10 songs and some honorable mentions for the amazing Billy Joel. And I know we're going to get some folks who are just, all into metal or all into prog and don't really care for Billy Joel. Hey, that's okay. But I know Billy's got plenty of fans out.
Let me tell you, Pete, I was very pleasantly surprised to see how many people came out of the woodwork when you did that top 10 for ABBA with Lynn.
Well, because I know, a lot of people, they may be metalheads, they may be proggers, they still appreciate good pop music, right? I mean,
right.
There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. So yeah, I mean, the ABBA show did very well because a lot of people dig ABBA. I mean, ABBA, a great song is a great song, and ABBA have a lot of great songs. Billy Joel is the same thing. I mean, it's just like, Billy Joel, Elton John. I mean, these are guys, they're pop smiths, they're rock and rollers too. It's like, just a lot of amazing, amazing songs. And, I get it that some parts of maybe the country or the world don't understand the dedication to Billy like we might. Okay.
Right.
I definitely agree that, Billy Joel has a certain, there's a certain amount of
originality to him.
Yeah, there's a legendary status he has among us who live here.
Right.
That's the way it is. And when I did the ranking the album show, there were people from Europe and whatnot, and people from the West Coast who were like, I don't get the whole Billy Joel thing. And I get that. All right. But for us here, he is a mythical figure. I mean, he is a rock star, an absolute superstar, and that's just the way it is. So if you don't dig Billy Joel, hey, you don't dig Billy Joel, but a lot of us do love him and love his music.
At the end of the day, it's about the music and the melody, and that's how people, from all around the world get into his music. But there's a little more poignancy in the lyrics in addition to the music.
Yeah, and that's true. I mean, hey, there's there are some artists and acts from around the world that don't have much, because I've gotten to these discussions with people about, like especially folks from the UK, like Status Quo or Slade, bands like that who are enormous over there, and here we don't have a clue, right? And so and that's just. And that happens. So that's why I totally understand people watching who Billy Joel is a non-entity in their part of the world. Totally get it. Here, he's a big deal, especially here on the East Coast of the United States. So anyway, there you have it. I want to thank Jack for coming up with this idea and helping with the homework here on this. So if you are a Billy Joel fan, in the comments below, please list your 10 favorites Billy Joel songs. If you want to do some honorable mentions, go right ahead. The more the merrier. So thanks for watching, everybody. Visit us on the web at www.seatranquility.org. It's early. And you know what happens when it's early. Pete has the olds. Visit us on Facebook, Twitter. Of course, we're here on YouTube all the damn time. Coming up tonight, we've got the Monsters Den. Stay tuned for a ranking the top 5 films. I realize it was pointed out yesterday. I think, was it Jamie Laszlo who pointed it out? I don't know. Someone pointed it out that I actually said we're ranking the albums of Brian De Palma. No, we're not doing that. Pete just has the old
soundtrack, maybe.
Yeah, no, we're not doing that either. No, we're ranking the films of Brian De Palma tonight. Our top 5: Dan Brown, Jamie Laszlo, and special guest Mike Portnoy, who's a big De Palma fan as well, as I found out. So he's helping out with the show tonight as well. So stay tuned tonight. And then, of course, we got tomorrow morning, Martin Popoff and myself back in the fun house for a cool show about the album before the big one. So we're going to talk about those bands who hadn't. So what was the album like before the big, huge mega album that this band had? And how does it compare? Did it plant the seeds for the big album? Was it on a different record label and they got a new record label and that helped the sales of the mega album? Was it a change in lineup? Whatever. We're going to look at those albums that came before the big one and kind of do a little discussion on that. So that's coming up. And then this weekend, Stephen Reed from Scotland is back on the show with me once again, twice. You get him twice this weekend. We're ranking the albums of UK prog act Frost, as well as Polish progressive metal band Riverside. So stay tuned for that and a lot more. For Jack Toledano, I am Pete Pardo. Have a good one, everybody.
Bye, everybody.